James, the producer, emailed, probably 2 weeks ago, and was like, "Isn't this crazy? This played literally 1 year ago, this clip." So I watch it. And I'll say this, during some of our debates, I question like, Dave, he doesn't really know. He doesn't really get it. He's really missing the mark here on this one. He doesn't see it. But on this clip specifically, as I watched it again a year later, I thought, he's brilliant. He's like, who was like the old psychic that was like the 1-800 number, Miss Clea, or is that what it was?
She got arrested, but she didn't know it was coming, so she wasn't a psychic.
I was watching. I was like, "Is Dave psychic?" Okay, so what we're gonna play for you is the clip that
he's just psycho.
That's maybe both. That played. It played April 27th of 2021. Okay, we got to get back. Everyone, get back in your mindset of 2021, of early 2021. Okay, stuff is still here. You're still wearing a mask on airplanes. COVID was still it was still kind of around, the idea of it. Gas just started going up. Car prices, I do not think at this point were outrageous. No. The car thing had not happened yet. Again,
Biden was barely in office.
Yes. So again, we are sitting 1 year ago, basically today, when this segment aired. So we're gonna play just a little bit of it, and we're gonna watch Mrs. Clea do her magic. Have you felt this ever? I mean,
I've never seen it like this exactly.
Yeah.
But what we are going to see out of this that you've never seen, your generation's never seen, is inflation. Inflation, the components that make up the inflation index, housing is one of them. It's the biggest part of inflation. And when housing shoots up and oil shoots up, and oil has shot up too.
Yeah, it has, yeah.
And, you look at the gas pump. It's doubled.
Oh, I know. Filled up my minivan 2 days ago. I thought, nobody's
talking about it, but the gas pump doubles and housing goes up a bunch. Then all of a sudden you're going to see stuff like I saw in the 70s and 80s, which was double-digit inflation, where stuff's going up 10, 15% a year.
Yeah.
And inflation was out of control, and the politicians, it took some real strong politicians to do away with it. It was out of control.
How do they do away with it?
Well, I credit Ronald Reagan. I'm just putting the brakes on, because it was out of control under Carter, and he comes in and shifted economic policy and just started opening up, doing away with regulation, opening up the markets. Because if you can flood the market with supply, it slows down the feeding frenzy. Because if you can get it everywhere, there's no scarcity.
Sure.
Then the prices start to settle. If there's an oversupply, prices go down. If there's an undersupply, prices go up. Because there's people chasing it.
Sure,
right?
Supply and demand.
Half the number of people chasing it as there are. You got 2 houses for sale for every buyer.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all of a sudden prices stabilize, start to go down, or at least quit shooting through the roof. So the out of control upward inflation. So we're probably going to see some actual inflation out of this, which we've not seen in 2 decades. You watch these interest rates go up with inflation.
Yeah.
It'll shut this housing market down.
I was going to say the correlation between inflation and the interest rates.
If you go from 3 to 6. This housing market will freeze like a deer in the headlights. It'll just stop. People just stop buying. They'll just back up and wait. And you're going to see some of that back and forth now. It's going to be a little rocky, a little volatile. But it won't. This feeding frenzy that you've got right this second is not going to continue.
We were talking about the housing market going into that. Okay, so you predicted inflation. You were like, inflation's going to happen. Your generation's never seen it before, but it will happen. And I remember thinking, oh, doomsday Dave. I don't know if it'll happen. Inflation has happened. And then you predicted that the interest rates for mortgages will go up, and now they're up to 5%. They've gone up in the last few months. So inflation hit, mortgage interest is going up. What's going to happen next? Are we heading for a recession? Predict the recession. Predict it right now. Are we going to a recession? But seriously, is that not crazy though
well, the signs were there. It's not. I'm not.
No, I know.
I'm not a prophet. The things were happening. Right. The components of inflation were already kicking in. We were seeing prices jump through the roof on things, and the Biden administration, on the things it could do things about, wasn't. For instance, energy. The stuff at the gas pump is his fault. The other parts of inflation, the Republicans are trying to blame him for. It's not his fault. It's the pandemic's fault. It was a supply-demand curve thing. And so Fox News wearing Biden out, because they're trying to get GOP in at the midterms, right? So it's political on blaming him for it. But anyway, and we are probably going to see 6%. I said we go from 3 to 6 on mortgages,
Yeah.
and then I said the housing market would freeze like a deer in the headlights. It will. It won't go down. It's not going to be like 2008. I'm not predicting it to go down. But 2 years ago in 2022, we had a 32% increase in the cost of housing in America. The next year we had a 17% increase. The average increase over the years is about 4%. And the reason for that is very simple: shortage of houses.
New houses, yeah.
There's 10 buyers, 20 buyers for every house that's on the market. And when you've got those kinds of pressures, you're going to have an artificial inflation. It's a supply-demand curve inflation. It's not a thing. It's not a prosperity-type inflation. It's not the economy's too heated up thing. But, when people slow down buying houses, it will slow down the rate of increase in houses. They're not going to go down. I'm going to wait on real estate values to come down. You're going to be dead before they come back down. They're not coming down. They're not going to go up at 32% a year.
Yeah,
and this idea of 400 people bidding on one house over the weekend stuff, that's going to go away. Because when you double the cost of interest, your payment on a $400,000 house goes up dramatically.
Sure. Okay, so what? Yes, so those 2 percentage points is get from 3% to 5%.
Yeah.
It's
devalued the bond market like 35%. The bond market is crashing with these increases in interest rates.
And the market has gone down.
The stock market has gone down.
Yes.
And that's because the economy is slowing. That's recessionary.
So the GDP came out.
Gross domestic product, which is
came out down over the first quarter.
And if it goes down 2 quarters in a row, it's a recession.
So we could be entering a recession at the end of this quarter if it continues to go down.
Yeah, we probably will.
And you think we'll probably hit a recession?
Yeah, I think we're in one. Yeah, I think we're right square in the middle of one. I don't know how long it'll last, but it depends on how long they keep monkeying with stuff in Washington.
Yeah.
But they could have done a lot to help the supply-demand curve stuff, like getting the ships off the ocean. When you got billions of dollars of goods sitting in the ocean waiting to come on shore and you can't get baby formula, that's a false thing caused by regulations and crap. Okay? Get the stuff out of the cartons and get it in the stores. It's not, and so there's some stuff that the policymakers and the politicians can actually do that it is their fault.
Okay, so the recession word is a scary word for a lot of people because last time we hit that was during the '08 crash, all of that, right? So you hear the word recession.
Recession simply means the economy is not producing as much goods and services as it used to.
And it can affect you.
Mainly it will affect your jobs because the businesses that are not growing do not hire. And businesses that are shrinking fire. They lay off. And it's not pandemic furloughs. They say, economics are bad. I have to show, we're laying you off permanently.
Yes,
that's what they'll do. And so there'll be some people losing jobs. So we've had this shortage of labor. We've got almost no unemployment right now.
So bizarre. It's like the weirdest.
It's the weirdest mix. It's a weird gumbo. And so, but the stock market is slowing because profits are down, because the economy is slowing, even though prices are up.
Yes, but people are not spending as much as they were even 6 months ago.
Right. We know that because the economy is shrinking.
Because there is not stuff to buy?
Not stuff to buy.
They're fearful?
I don't know.
Consumers pull back?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. But recession is not an emotional thing. And it's really, honestly, it's kind of a natural second step after a bizarre supply-demand inflation curve like this.
Yeah.
So
will inflation go down once the recession, or that's all?
Yeah.
It'll kind of work itself.
Inflation will go down when the supplies hit the market
when it
again.
comes back,
in each area. Stuff's going to stop shooting up when there's plenty of stuff.
Yes.
There's plenty of cars will go down. But there's still not plenty of cars. There's still a shortage.
Yeah.
So that's what's driving that.
Crazy.
So inflation is not or recession is not a feeling. It is 2 consecutive quarters of a shrinking economy. And it's not a feeling. It is a thing that's going to happen, though. This is The Ramsey Show. Tiffany is with us in Atlanta, Georgia. Hi, Tiffany. How are you?
How are you doing?
Better than I deserve. What's up?
I was calling because I wanted to get your advice. We took financial peace a couple of years ago, but we also have a lot of burdens as far as debt. So we have about 300 and something thousand of student loans.
Good Lord. Whoa, stop. 300,000 in student loans?
Yes.
Who's the doctor or lawyer?
Nobody's a doctor or lawyer, just a lot of expensive schools.
What are your degrees in, honey?
business, and leadership.
Oh, my Lord. What is your household income?
$140,000.
Well, that's good news. Oh, my goodness. Overpaid for some degrees. Okay. Ouch. $300,000 in student loans, and what else?
About $300,000 in the house, and about $60,000 between medical and cars and things like that.
What do you owe on the cars?
Like $15,000 on one, about $11,000 on another.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, you've got a very, very tight budget. You got a lot of house, and you got a lot of cars, and you are deeply in student loan debt. So one of two things is going to occur. You're going to sell cars and houses and move down into just some junky cars and into a little rental property, and you're going to use the $140,000 to get rid of the student loan debt, or you're going to keep the house and the cars, and you're going to limp out of this, and it's going to take you a lot longer.
So when I do the math, it takes like 10 years to even sort of get it close. Now, we also do qualify for a loan forgiveness. So
why do you qualify? You mean after 10 years?
Because we work for a nonprofit, yeah.
After 10 years?
Correct.
Yeah, I don't want to wait 10 years to be out of debt. No, I mean, you make $140,000. Okay, you've got $300,000 plus you said another $60,000, so you're $360,000. I mean, if we put $60,000 a year on it, it's done in 6 years. If we put $80,000 on it, it's done in 4.5. And that means you ought to be able to do that. You're just living on nothing. But I mean, again, if I were in your shoes, I'm going to move way down in house. I'm going to sell my house. And I'm probably going to sell the $15,000 car and maybe the $11,000 and just get me a couple of junkers. And because I'd want out of this mess. And I wouldn't want to wait 6 years. And those cars in that house are going to delay. It's going to add 2 years at least to this program. Maybe 3.
Okay.
Maybe 3. And you guys have bought everything in sight. And ouch, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry you're facing all this. But, I mean, you can do it either way. It's whatever you want to do. But you're right. You're looking at 6 to 8 years if you stay in the house, and you're probably looking at a really tough 3.5 or 4 if you don't stay in the house. What's the trajectory of your career look like income-wise? Are you seeing incomes increase pretty dramatically or just slightly?
They increase as you change jobs, like for different companies. So typically, yeah, like about another $20,000 probably would come in the next promotion or something like that.
Okay. All right. So that's a pretty decent push. And so, if we project out 3 years, maybe we're not dealing with 140, maybe we're dealing with 180 or 190 at that point on income. And see, that starts to change the equation too. Mm-hmm. But you guys have really, I mean, you're broke. You're desperately broke. And you're going to have to start making some dramatic moves in cutting lifestyle and some dramatic moves in living on the cheap to clean this mess up. And, that's what you've got to do there. So thanks for the call. I wish I had better answers for you, but those numbers are just horrendous. Sorry you're facing that. One of the things you should get from this show, other than entertainment value, is you should be learning something. And it should occur to you to think to yourself, how in the crap do people go $300,000 in debt to get a couple of business degrees? What has to be broken in the process they were using in order to let yourself do that? Okay? Well, let me tell you a couple things that are broken, potentially. I don't know what happened exactly there, but I'll tell you what runs through my mind when I hear those kinds of numbers for a situation like that. Number one, people think getting a degree from a certain school is going to more likely ensure their success. There is no data, none, anywhere, that indicates that prestige schools create a higher success probability. That's just straight up BS. It's straight up BS. As a matter of fact, more CEOs of Fortune 500 companies graduated from public universities than from prestige universities. Wall Street Journal did a study about 2 years ago and published it, made everybody mad in that world. Now, I don't mind you going to a prestige school, but don't go $300,000 in debt to get 2 business degrees. That's stupid. Okay? And because it doesn't ROI. It just simply doesn't ROI. For God's sakes, it's a business degree. You ought to think about this, you know? And so I don't mind you going to Wharton. I don't mind you going to Harvard. I don't mind you going to Yale or Vanderbilt. I don't mind you going to those things as long as you can ride check and go, or they're paying for it. It's a free ride. But this idea you're going to go hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt because of where you went to school, and that's going to ROI, there's no data to support your stupid set of assumptions there. None whatsoever. No research at all. You cannot find it on the planet. Now, there's some old boys sitting around, you know, sipping on something at the country club that'll tell you otherwise, but they got nothing to support it, I'll just tell you. And the second thing that happens there is, if you come from a background, if your family is not an education-oriented family and you're the first of your family to go get an education, sometimes you believe the lie that says, just get an education. It's worth it. Whatever you do, you got to break the family chains. You got to break the cycle. You got to do whatever. And whatever it takes, you go get that education. And it'll, you know, the only shot you got to get about not being like... Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, click the subscribe button to get the latest content and check out these other great clips from the show.
Brought to you by the EveryDollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
So, I guess a little bit of background. My wife and I are in our early 30s. We have a young, growing family. And in the last year, we purchased her family home for my mother-in-law. Some things kind of changed in our lives recently and decided we needed to move home and spend some more time with her. We are currently, I'm going to say, in between steps 6 and 7. So home is paid off. We've been basically banking everything else. We're in a position where
if the home is paid off, you're in 7.
Yes. Well, so the reason I say it that way, we know we're going to have to do some pretty serious renovations to the house to make it work for us long term. It's on, you know, a decent amount of land. It's in a good school district. We see our family growing there, but there's going to be significant, you know, changes that need to be made to support our family long term. And I'm wondering, is a HELOC the right way to do that? You know, I kind of went into the renovation process with the mindset of we do a little bit at a time and just kind of pick away, you know, room by room and talking to the general contractor, the changes that we're going to have to make, that's not really possible to do it that way. So it's kind of an all or nothing kind of thing, I think, in their minds. And it's...
Yeah, they're not paying the bill.
That's true, yep.
If they won't pay the bill, they get an opinion on that. I mean, I understand that they have a structural concern or the approach to the construction, but you know, they're not taking into consideration your family. So what is your household income?
Last year, low 200s.
Okay, and so what's this project, if we looked at it in total, going to cost?
The current budget is right now 150 to 250, and some of that they're not going to determine until. Well, they need to get inside the walls and inside the attic and the structural things.
Bull
we're
crap!
Not to that point yet.
We're not going to start a project when we don't know within $100,000 what it's going to cost.
Okay.
You don't have a contractor. You got a guy who wants some money. No, I mean, we're going to have this dialed in detail as to what we're going to get into here. This range, let me tell you what that'll turn into. 350 is what that'll turn into, because this guy's making this crap up as he goes. No, thank you. No. So anyway, all right, let's just pretend it's a $200,000 tight, detailed budget that we know is accurate, as opposed to what you're dealing with now. And let's use that. You make 200. Okay, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to break the project down into chunks as small as I possibly can, which is what you were trying to do room by room. You may not be able to approach it room by room. You may have to have another angle on it. You may have to say, okay, the first chunk is $75,000 because we got to do this whole whatever, right? And then the next chunk is 10, and the next chunk is 30, and the next chunk is whatever. And just break it out in chunks, and then you save up and do a chunk at a time. Mm-hmm. And you know, if the first one is a big one, you hold off until you save that much money making $200K.
Okay.
I'm not going in debt to do it. Why would you need to?
Yep.
You make plenty of money, and you're going to be there anyway, so you can do this over time.
What are they telling? Is there a danger? Like, is there a?
It's inconvenience.
I think it's a convenience thing. I think there's some load-bearing walls that, really to do it, I think it's going to be the first big chunk. They're going to do all that together. And then I think there are some separate, smaller chunks they can break it into.
Yeah. I mean, I tell the guy you're either getting paid or you're not.
Yeah,
so you're either getting paid a little by little or nothing at all.
What's this house worth? Not counting the land.
So that's a harder question. Probably $250 maybe.
The house is worth $250, and you're going to pay $250 to repair it.
That's yep.
Wow.
and that goes back to the emotional element of it being a childhood home, and it's on a decent amount of land, and would be hard to replicate for that price elsewhere, too. I'm hearing it's a bad idea.
If you don't have a good architect, and you guys don't really spend a bunch of time thinking this through, you're going to
overbuild.
No, you're going to build a horrible property because you're trying to take something that was not designed to be a $400,000 property and turn it into that. And so it's going to feel like what we call a country house, where you just add rooms and move walls around, and every time another kid's born, we add another room to it or something, and that's country built's what we used to call it anyway. It doesn't mean that if you build a house in the country, you're doing it wrong. That's not the point. If you're doing it this way, it's wrong. I'm afraid this is such a massive renovation ratio-wise that what you're trying to pull off is very hard to do. Let me say it that way. It's very hard to end up with a great end product that is a reasonable thing when you spend as much on it as it's worth. It's almost easy. It's from a tactical standpoint, not a financial standpoint, it's easier to push it down and build something else. A lot easier than try to take this clay pot that's already been through the kill and reshape it. Right? That's what it's very difficult to do what you're doing. Minor, if you told me you were going to spend $50,000 or $60,000 on a $250,000 house, you can do that. You can do a lot of stuff for that. That's a different thing. But you're talking about basically rebuilding this whole house, and you could really end up with a piece of crap.
I feel like there's a way that he could do that and still salvage parts of it and use that for the rebuild.
But I'm saying you really need to think. You need an architect to lay this out so that when you're done, you don't build something that looks like a pretzel. It doesn't look like old lady in the shoe or something. Yeah. And because that's what this kind of stuff it evolves into a grotesque thing that all because of the emotion of it being a childhood home, and you made a bad decision. So it can be done, and I'm not telling you not to do it, John. I'm saying you got to really back up from this. You got to have a good, solid, detailed, accurate budget that you're going to hold everybody accountable to. We've got to break it into parts that we can cash flow, and we really need a good floor plan, engineering plan, wiring and plumbing plan that we end up with that looks like somebody thought it through. Instead of like, well, we need an extra bedroom. Bloop,
Yeah.
That's jeez, man. It's a mess. So, you really, what you're trying to do is very hard to do for somebody who's never done it before, and not end up with a mess. Yeah, it's very hard to do. Be very careful, sir. Get every T crossed, every I dotted, everything thought through before you raise a hammer toward a wall, and everything dialed in. Because if you don't, you're going to end up in a financial mess with a bad product and something that takes years and years and years to accomplish and shouldn't. And then when you're done, you don't have a good thing. Yeah, it's very scary. Very scary. I mean, it honestly is a lot easier to build a house from the dirt. A whole lot easier, and end up with a great product than it is to do even a a 40% or 20% rehab, much less 100% rehab.
Yeah, it's just got to feel tough because he's already paid it off. He's paid it off, and then he's like demolishing the thing.
yeah. But I mean, a lot of people do tear downs to get the lot.
That's true.
And obviously, we're not going to get to tear this one down because it's childhood home.
Yeah.
And all the emotion, he brought that up 3 times. So obviously, we're not bulldozing it. But wow, tough. You can do it, but you really need to lean in on the details. You need to be project manager extraordinaire. Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life. Brought to you by the Every Dollar app. Start budgeting for free today.
So let's go to the phone lines where we have Dustin in Albuquerque, New Mexico. What's going on, Dustin?
Hi, how's it going?
Good.
Well, I this past year, 2023 was my first full year of owning a house, and I had always heard people who own houses don't really get a tax return back. So I went to do my taxes, and sure enough, he said I was going to get like $100 back, and their fee is like just over $300. So he recommended I take some money out of my 401k from 2023 and put it in an IRA. And he said if I put like $4,000, I would probably get like at least a $700 or $800 return on my taxes rather than $100 return.
This guy's fired.
I wanted to
instantly. Keep talking.
Really?
So
keep talking.
What I
but
understand is you're going to get a $100 refund right now.
Yeah, like 100 and
And
something.
their fee to work with the tax pro is $300, and you don't have the $200 to cover it. Is that the problem?
I was gonna put it on my credit card, and he said, "Well, if you want, you could do this, and it would cover our fee, and you would get, some money back."
He suggested a 401k loan.
Is he saying to withdraw the money from the 401k, or is he saying do a transfer from an old 401k, do a direct rollover? What exactly was he saying to do?
If I understood right, he wanted me to roll over like $4,000 from my 401k. From
Is this an old employer?
From my earnings from 2023. No, I'm still working with this employer.
Well, okay. You're not going to be able to do a rollover unless you leave that employer.
Oh, okay.
So what he's saying to do, it sounds like he's saying to withdraw money from the 401k.
He wants him to withdraw it to pay.
Yeah,
which
to
will cause you to
and
pay
put
like
it in an
35% penalties and taxes in order to do that.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Listen.
I don't trust this tax guy. First of all, he's missing a few brain cells.
Here's the thing.
Telling you to do this so that you can cover the $200, $300 fee you owe
George,
him?
we can't. We're expending way too many mental calories trying to understand that this tax guy is whack. Here's the thing. Here's at the core of this. You're getting $100 back. That's great. That means you didn't overpay taxes. And, you have to pay them for their services. So I think right now you've just got to break your mind for a moment because what's happening is normal. Like, I don't pay that much in taxes and I have to pay my tax guy. Like that right there is actually normal. What should happen is what I should say. What's normal is people get back $8,000 and they don't even feel that they paid their tax professional because they're getting back these exorbitant amounts and they're thinking that they won the lottery and that their tax guy did something wonderful for them when really all they did was just loan the government money all year long and didn't even collect any interest on it. And so I kind of want to reframe your brain there and just go, listen, it's great. You didn't get a tax refund back. That just means you didn't overpay the government. You had access to all of your money all year long, which is a good thing. And now you got to pay these guys for their services. No harm, no foul. Like that's the way it should be.
So when do you have to make this payment?
Well, we were doing my taxes this past weekend, and he just put it on hold. Until I looked into. He told me to look into the IRA and to see if I could take money out of my 401k. But then I heard about you guys. I've never really listened to the show, but I heard about you guys, so I thought I'd call and ask.
I'm so glad you did, Dustin. Truly. So here's the deal. I'm going to go. How much can I work? What can I sell in order to make $300 to pay this guy's tax fee? But then I'm done with him.
And we're not taking out 401k loans to pay our tax guy for our income tax return.
Okay. And I don't know if I can ask too. I've always wondered about like a Roth IRA. Should I just stick with my 401ks or should I consider moving to like a Roth?
Do you have any debt?
Just the house.
Just your mortgage payment?
No credit card debt, no car payment?
Well, I have a little bit of credit card debt, like $600, but
that's debt.
Like I travel for work, so I use my credit card like to eat. And
I travel for work. I use my debit card.
Yeah.
And that way I can't go into debt.
Mm-hmm. And if they're causing you to go into debt, they need to provide you a company card for that. But do not put company expenses on a credit card, because if something happens, you're on the hook. If they fire you or whatever, and they're like, we don't even know what you're talking about, that's not an expense anymore, you're on the hook for that bill, dude.
Well, to be honest, I do the credit card because I can't really afford to put anything on my debit card. Like, I literally...
Then they need to provide you some petty cash or some funds in order to do those things. But you should not be going into debt on a monthly basis to fund purchases for your job. Like, hard line.
But even if like they pay me back the very next week?
Because you're in debt. You're in debt. Your name is on the line until they decide to pay you back. Because what happens if you do something and you're like, listen, I thought that was an expense.
And you're paying 25% interest on this balance in the meantime.
Yeah.
So, Dustin, the real question is, why don't you have any margin even though you don't have much debt?
Right. If $300 is an issue.
Yeah. I'm confused. Like, how much do you make?
Well, after my taxes and my insurance, I get like $1,500 every 2 weeks.
Okay, so $3,000 a month. Are you doing any investing right now into that 401k?
No. Well, yeah, whatever. I mean, I don't know exactly how much it is, but it's just whatever my job put forward.
Well, it's about to be 0% because right now you need $1,000 in a starter emergency fund because you're going to keep going back into credit card debt if we don't solve this. So pause investing down to 0 right now. Go get some side jobs, start selling stuff, pay the $300 to your tax guy, save up $1,000 in the emergency fund, and then let's get rid of this credit card debt, and then we can get back to investing.
Hey, how much is your mortgage?
So
every month?
My mortgage actually went up this year because they underestimated my taxes for last year. So it went up to just under $2,000.
That's the problem.
Goodness gracious.
There's your problem, bud. Your problem...
2/3 of your money is going into this home.
Yeah. The rule of thumb here is we don't want your mortgage to be any more than 25% of your take-home pay after taxes. And you are well above that. And that's why you're feeling the heat. That's why you don't have any money saved. That's why it's hard to pay this $300 tax bill. And your brain even considered the idea of getting a 401k loan for it. We've got to get this ship righted.
Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life.
You wrote this masterpiece, From Strength to Strength, and you recently wrote a new book with Oprah Winfrey, which is not a bad co-author.
Not bad.
Called Build the Life You Want. Just an amazing voice out in the world. You do something very unique. You teach happiness.
Yeah. Science of happiness.
The science of happiness, which is,
right.
God help us, we need it.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. The world, I mean, you look at the data on what's been going on in the United States and around the world, we've been taken down in happiness since about 1990, as a matter of fact.
Just free-falling.
It's, I dedicated the rest of my life to lifting people up and bringing them together in bonds of happiness and love using science as a scientist, because that's what the world needs most.
Okay, so I want to know from that scientific perspective, because you can have the motivational quotes, you can have the gratitude journal, right, all this stuff. But for real, in science, what have you found?
Yeah,
because everything you've written about, but what are some of the things that you see that's just mind blowing? Because it has to be where you actually see science and emotion all come together.
Yeah, no, it's an incredible field. My mind is getting blown continuously. I write a column every Thursday in the Atlantic about the science of happiness, and I've done 204 columns, and I'm just getting started.
Still learning.
There is so much about it. There's so much to write about it. But when I have, if I get an elevator ride with somebody, they're like, "What's the secret?" I better have something to say. Here it is. The habits of the happiest people come down to 4 things: faith, family, friends, and work serving others.
And this is not influencer mumbo jumbo. No. You're a Harvard scientist, right?
This is based
For
on
real.
this is my behavioral science background the last 30 years since I got my PhD.
Say it again.
Faith,
family,
friendship, and meaningful work, which means that you're serving others.
Okay.
That's what it is.
Walk through some of those real quick. So faith, what does that mean? People of faith, is it because there is something higher than them? There's something bigger than them. It's not just about them on this earth, right?
Yeah, and I'm not saying my faith. I'm a Christian. It's literally the most important thing in my life.
Yeah.
But I will say as a scientist, I won't say who's right, but I will say as a scientist, what you need from faith is something transcendent to you. What that means is Mother Nature will put you in the psychodrama of your life where you're the star, and it's awful because Mother Nature doesn't care if you're happy.
Yeah.
She wants you to focus on me all day long. You need to get little and make the universe big. Now, and faith is the single best way to do it. And the more you focus on it and practice it every day, it doesn't feel natural at first. But I'm telling you, it's the game changer.
There. So
right?
good.
That's number one.
The higher power. Yeah.
Number one. Number two is family. And people define it differently in different ways. And John and I know the neurobiology of how oxytocin links you with your kin because we're a bunch of nerds. But it really comes down to this. If you're walking away from your family or you're letting anything besides abuse put a schism in your family, you're ruining your happiness and theirs too. People, 1 in 6 Americans is not talking to a family member today because of politics. It's insanity.
So we're letting all these things completely drive a wedge
into
the media, one of the 4 pillars of our happiness.
For sure. Politicians want us to do that. The media wants us to do that.
Wow.
Look, when you're walking away from your family, somebody's profiting and it's not you. That's the bottom line.
And no matter how much you think you're winning, it's coming at a cost.
You're losing. You're losing because it's a bad proposition. You're basically it's the stuff that you guys talk about, but in the ledger of happiness.
Yeah.
What it comes down to. Bad investment. Third is friendship. Now, we're at the lowest point in friendship that we've seen since we've been keeping records. Loneliness is higher than it's ever been in the United States, but we're around people all the time. What's the deal? And the answer is that we're mediating our relationships with electronics. This is a problem. Social media relationships are not real relationships. Now, a lot of people, I deal with a lot of people really, really successful, and they say, I'm so lonely even though I'm with people all day long. And I say, well, that's a problem. You don't have any real friends. You just have deal friends. And everybody knows the difference between real and deal. But with young people, it's real and virtual. So social media won't get it done. It just won't. If it's going through a screen, you're not going to get the brain chemistry that you need. And if you want to know whether or not you got enough of this going on, if you're finding that you're feeling lonely despite having a lot of conversations with people, then you're doing the conversations wrong.
I was going to say, because the content of the friendship is what's key there, right?
Yeah.
The vulnerability, the honesty, being known at a deep level.
And also the contact, the method of contact, eye contact.
Of that
touch.
too. So the in-person.
Yeah.
Okay, so tell me this. I'm going to...
Yeah. And then there's work.
I'm going to tell on myself. I'm going to tell on myself real quick because I'm curious what you think about this. But so Marco Polo is an app. It's a video app. And so there's me and 3 girlfriends, and we keep up. I mean, almost every day. Like when I come home from work, they'll kind of chime in because we're all over.
Right.
We're not all in the same city. Can we have that same connection if our conversations are good and we're knowing what's going on and we're checking in and asking questions and all of it? I mean, I know it's not as fruitful as like a back-to-back in person. But
yeah, go ahead.
Tell me about that.
Yeah.
I'm being selfish for a second.
Here's what's going on in your brain.
Okay.
So you have a neuropeptide, a hormone in your brain that's intensely pleasurable called oxytocin. The biggest amount that you get is when you lay eyes on your newborn infant. And it's like the 4th of July inside your head.
Totally,
right?
yeah.
Now, we have this because we're supposed to be linked to our people and they're supposed to be linked to us. So when you're lonely, you won't be able to sleep. You won't, it's like things are messed up. You feel out of sorts. You're feeling restless all the time. The reason is because you have a deficit of oxytocin and the monkey's on your back. It's like you're an addict and can't get what you want is the way that works. Okay. So all of these mediated ways to deal with people. Look, we have a Pleistocene brain. We have caveman brain. I mean, we have not evolved our brains over 250,000 years.
Right.
We're made to be connected to our kin. Because we're a kin-based hierarchical tropical species. That's what Homo sapiens is. Right now, we can, there are all sorts of ways that we can change that, like invent coats so we don't have to live in tropical places.
Right.
We're still kin-based.
So interesting.
And we link to each other neurobiologically through this hormone. So in-person, eye contact and touch, that's best. Below that is anything that gets you closer to that particular experience. Zoom is terrible. Zoom is terrible.
Zoom is
no
the Twinkies, right?
Zoom is like getting, actually the worst is social media because they're not even there. So Zoom is like getting all of your meals through fast food. It's the junk food of social life.
Yes.
You'll become obese and malnourished simultaneously.
Okay, so
quick, can I ask one question?
Yeah.
this has been haunting me, and you and I were talking about this earlier.
Yeah.
There is data on the psychology of debt.
Yes.
Dave has been talking about this for 30 years. The borrower is slave to the lender. That's from Scripture. But there is now, there's data that suggests.
We got it. We know how money and happiness are related.
Okay, we got like a minute. Talk to us.
Grandma says that money doesn't bring happiness. She's right. But money at low levels can eliminate sources of unhappiness unless you spend the money wrong. There's 5 ways to spend your money.
Okay.
Buy stuff, buy experiences with the people you love, buy time and spend it with the people that you love, give it away and save it. It turns out the one thing that your neurobiology wants you to do, which is go buy stuff, is the one thing that doesn't buy happiness.
Wow.
The other 4 will. Now, it depends on where you are. If you're actually at the bottom and you're trying to make your way, the best way that you can actually bring happiness to your life is save your money because you're making progress. There's a ton of psychology behind this. And by the way, going into debt, especially for consumer things, will reliably make you miserable.
So that's not just Dave having fun and being angry.
Yep. This is happiness science, my friends.
Oh
yeah,
my
it's changed my life, and it's helped me to give better advice to people at all different stations in life and different economic circumstances. Because I can say this to people. I can say, look, I got the data on this. And by the way, if you're really, really rich, God bless you. That's wonderful. I'm so happy for you under the circumstances. But that means you have to still spend your money the right way. Getting a 5th Ferrari is not the right thing to do. Experiences with people that you love. Philanthropy. These are the ways for you to buy your happiness. Don't buy crap. You're not going to.
You can say it. You can say it.
You're not going to be on your deathbed saying, I wish I'd bought more crap.
That's right.
But you're going to say, I wish I'd taken that fishing trip with my buddies.
I wish I had actually spent more time with the people that I love, and I wish I'd supported the causes about which I'm passionate.
So good. Oh my
One
gosh.
of my absolute heroes, Dr. Arthur Brooks.
Yeah, so you guys check out his book, Build the Life You Want. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I wish we had the whole hour with you.
We'll do it again.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life.
Dave, when I saw this article, I said, okay, I got to show this to Dave. I read it. It says nearly half of young adults in the U.S. are living at home with their parents. And all that saved money on rent is fueling a luxury boom. It says a record number of young adults in the U.S. are currently living at home, and all that saved money is sparking a luxury boom. That's unbelievable to me, because if you read down in the article, it says 48% of these young adults are living with their parents. This is in 2022. So this is not like from 2020, right? We know that people kind of hold up together because of the pandemic in 2020, but it's still taking place. And it says that it's because they have all of this extra money, and instead of paying off, I don't know, their debt.
This is a historical high since the Great Depression.
Yeah. These numbers have not been seen since the Great Depression.
48%. So let me get this straight. You live in your mama's basement, but you got a Coach purse.
You got a Coach purse. And these companies that are, they make Tiffany and Dior and Hennessy and all these luxury brands, they saw a 20% spike above, and they're attributing it to
baby
this.
children.
From baby children. And at first, Dave, I'll be honest, when I first read this, my my anger and my frustration was at the young adult. But then I thought about it. I thought about it more, and I said, no.
This is a helicopter mama got out of control. Helicopter daddy got out of control.
Helicopter mom. This is also, it's a result in my mind.
I can just hear the prop. Pop, 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 pop.
It's 3 things. It's the parenting, right? We've sent that message that basically we're going to do everything for you.
This is not parenting. This is coddling.
We've coddled the confidence right out of these people.
Woo!
We've coddled it right out.
That's tweetable.
Think about it. When you've got parents who say, I don't trust that you can do this. I don't trust that you can make it out there on your own. I don't trust that you can use your God-given intellect and skill to earn money and pay rent. Why don't you come back and live here? And oh, by the way, when you live here, we'll cook your meals, we'll pay your rent. If you need a little gas for money, we'll give you that too. Then, Dave, you've got the government saying, hey, you can't pay for your student loans. We'll do it for you. And then you've got this mixture of then now social culture telling you everything you say is right, everything you think is right, you can do no wrong. Now tell me, Dave, how does that create an adult who can go in and function in society?
What this is creating is, for the particular young people that are falling prey for it, is what's known as a train wreck.
It's a train wreck.
You described a train wreck, because here's what's going to happen. You cannot avoid life.
You can't.
It's coming for your butt.
Well, that's what's happened.
And mama can't protect you, and Biden can't protect you.
Nope.
And your opinion doesn't matter until you've got actual experience to base that opinion on.
That's right. But the world has told you that everything you think is right.
I really don't care what your opinion is.
I know that's right. And they're getting out into the world and they're going, wait a minute, this is different.
Well, the problem is when they do get in the world, and they will.
They will.
They're going to run into reality, which reality says, truthfully, reality says you are not an expert on something just because you breathe air. Your opinion is not valid.
That's right.
Unless it is based on some kind of facts. That were based on, not feelings.
That's right.
But you've been told that your feelings are all valid, and they are valid feelings.
Yeah.
But anybody that leads their life by feelings is known as a child. Adults devise a plan and follow it. Children do what feels good.
I know that's right.
Here's who we need to rant at, and you're exactly right. Rachel Cruz said this 10 years ago or 15 years ago the first time. We don't have a student loan crisis. We have a parenting crisis.
It's parenting. And I say it all the time. You can't absorb everything for your kids. Now, I've got young kids, Dave. I got 2-year-old and 4-year-old.
You send them to the salt mines every morning.
No.
Go to work.
Let me tell you.
You 2-year-old, go to work.
You got to let them feel it. You got to let them feel it.
Pick up your toys.
It's very easy to want to step in and not let them fail, not let them feel disappointment, not let them feel hurt. You got to let them feel it.
Here's the problem. When you're a parent that you think you are doing your child a favor by making it easy for them, you're actually making it harder for them because you're stupid.
Well, you're sending a message.
You're so stupid that you think that they're not going to have to learn the lesson. They have to learn the lesson. So you're better off to learn the lesson while at home and 15 years old and feel the pain of calluses on your hand.
Yep.
Feel the pain of actual discipline and responsibility at a reasonable level where I can protect you from it being crushing pain.
That's right.
As your dad. But I'm going to make sure that you feel the abrasion so that when you feel real abrasion later, real adversity later, you've got the freaking character to stand in the wind.
And the resilience. Because if you don't allow that, you're sending that message, I don't have confidence in you. And there's an undercurrent that the child feels that, okay, I can't do this. So then when they do get out in the world and all those things happen, they don't know how to be resilient. They don't know how to handle it because they have not had to build that level of confidence and, like you said, character. And it's just, I gave this example the other day. I was talking about my kid and, he wants to help me set the table at night. And look, he's 4 years old. He's not going to do it right. He's going to put the stuff on the edge of the table, probably going to knock the glass off. It's going to break, all these things. And it's a great opportunity for me to step in and go, you know what, I'll just do it. I'll put it like this. I know how to do it. But if I do that, I'm telling him, I don't have confidence in you to either do it right. And I certainly don't have confidence in you to make a mistake and learn from it.
There's no dignity.
There's no dignity there.
When you are coddled.
You got to let him do it.
There is no dignity when you have no autonomy because you have absolutely no actual skills.
That's right.
And by the way, managing your social media account is not a skill. Okay, that you don't qualify for that one. Okay,
that one doesn't count.
You don't get making comments on other people's actual achievements is not a skill.
Yeah,
that's not an achievement. You didn't achieve anything when you did that.
Yeah,
and so when you live in your mother's basement and you write a blog on personal finance, the rest of the world laughs at you.
Yeah,
and your mommy thinks you're cute.
So a message to these young adults living at home: you've been enabled. We're telling you, you've been enabled, you have been coddled, you have been put in a situation that is not for your best interest.
Ooh.
Now it is time for you to do something to change that. It's time for you to get up. It's time for you to get out. The problem is not, I can't afford rent. That is a symptom. The problem is you've got debt, you're not earning enough money, and you're not doing enough to go out and change it. Mom and dad can't do this for you.
Well,
and don't blame it on the fact that folks are getting married later in life.
No, that's absolutely
because that's a whole
horse
other
crap.
thing.
No, it's not. Look, work more, go to the bar less. Was that okay?
That's it.
Because you took your beer pong skills from college, and you brought them home to your 23-year-old self, and you converted them to happy hour skills.
Yeah.
And so we live from thank God it's Friday to oh God it's Monday, and this is the recipe for freaking failure.
Yep.
So if you're a young person listening to us, we are not picking on you.
No.
We are begging you to get away from your parents. They're stupid.
They did you wrong. And parents, if you're listening in the new year, it's time for you to serve a notice. That's the gift.
Yep.
The gift that they need to open up is a pink slip.
Yep. You got till March.
Kid.
You got till June.
Yep.
No more than June. June's max. But I mean, give them an exit ramp, give them an on ramp, give them an off ramp, whatever you want to call it. But let's lay out a game plan, coach them, help them,
Yep. And that's
show
the thing.
them what to do. And let me just tell you, an eagle that does not leave the nest is eventually known as a turkey. They are useless. You do not want to be 38 and living in your mother's basement. By the way, young men, no woman wants to date you because you're what's known as a wuss. You are not eligible.
You are not eligible.
You look like a parasite. You do not look like a person who can carry half of a relationship.
Oh my goodness. I wish my daughter would bring home a dude that's living in his parents' basement.
Uh-oh, Big Sam be lighting that guy up. Big Sam be on that guy.
Big Mama would be lighting that guy up.
Well, that's it. Yeah. Sam would be in the background cheering her on. That's
He
what it was.
He would be.
All right. Hey, seriously, folks, love your children well enough to cause them to grow up.
That's right.
And out. Thanks for joining us, America. Sal is with us let me find Sal. There he is in Savannah, Georgia. Hey, Sal, how are you?
I'm good. How you doing, Dave? Thanks for having me.
Sure, man. What's up?
So right now, my wife and I are currently taking the classes, and we are about to do week 6 tonight. But just a few days ago, so we have a Jeep as our only vehicle, but we have a $35,000 loan on it. The 2012, whatever. A few days ago, we traded it in to get a vehicle that was like $5,500. That was just reliable. My wife felt safe in with our son, and we took the hit of the negative equity, which was around $8,800, brought us up to about a $15,000 loan. Unfortunately, the people who gave us the loan, they retracted and said, we're not going to pay the dealership this money because from the loan to value ratio, the loan's way too high for the value of the vehicle. So we just had to give it back and take our Jeep back. So just trying to figure out how, because this Jeep is really the biggest thing that's killing us in our debt. I mean, it's costing us $609 a month. So I'm really just trying to figure out what's the best way to get away from this. I'm wondering if I should.
What's your household income?
Around 42,000.
Okay. And who is the loan with on the Jeep?
The loan right now is with Regions Bank.
Okay. Go sit down in person with Regions Bank and talk to them about signing a note for the difference of what the Jeep won't bring, the $8,000. Now, it will be less than $8,000 because you're going to sell the Jeep personally rather than trade it in. So it's probably going to be more like $5,000. Because you can get a lot more for it selling it yourself, and that's what you need to do. Because you can't afford to take the hit on doing it as a trade-in. I'm glad the other deal didn't work out, in other words. Now, then that's gone. Now, what cars do you have? You have 2 cars or just the Jeep?
No, that's the only one we have.
It's the only vehicle you own. Okay. Then also talk to the credit union about making you a separate loan for a basic little car like you were trying to buy a while ago, the $5,000 car. So that's going to put you in about the same position the other deal would have put you in, except a little bit less debt because you're going to sell the Jeep yourself.
Okay.
And but you've got to work this out with your credit union. It's going to be your best shot to let you sign a note for the difference and then get them to give you a car loan to get you by. Now, how many kids do you have?
We have 1 son and 1 on the way.
Okay. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well, you do need something quote-unquote safe and reliable. It may be that you end up going even cheaper than $5,000 because you might have to work overtime to just buy it in cash to make this deal work later. And it may take you a few months to put all this together.
Yeah, Can't really work overtime though because I'm active duty military, so it's standard salary.
It's not exactly like they let you do that. I got you.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. But well, I think it's gonna take you a little while to whittle your way through this.
Yes.
It took a while to make the mess, and it takes a while to clean the mess up.
Yeah, definitely. It was definitely a horrible decision from the get go.
I got you. Hey, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Just so just say it doesn't work out with the credit union. Now, do you think an option would be move my Jeep up to my number one priority on my debt snowball to pay off the negative equity as fast as possible?
How much other debt do you have?
I have two school loans out there. One of them's $20,000. The other one's only around like $2,100 I have left on it, and I have like 2 credit cards left that have around $2,000 on them as well.
Yeah, I would look at the $8,000 or $6,000 hole that you're in as the thing. So before I got to the $20,000 loan, I would move it up to that level.
Okay.
Instead of being your largest debt, I'd make it your next to largest debt, and look at it as an $8,000 or $6,000 debt, because that's paying it down to get it right side up so you can get it sold.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
Thanks for your service to the country, sir. We appreciate you, Sal. God bless. Open phones at 888-825-5225. All right. I got a theme this hour. Have you heard it? People buying cars they can't afford. Did you hear the theme? I heard it. Sometimes God just gives us a theme. We didn't even need a theme hour. It's just right there. But I mean, the last 2 or 3 callers, it just makes you want to go, do what? And yet I've done as dumb a thing, and so have you. But let me give you a rule of thumb here. If you want to be broke your entire life, if you never want to be wealthy, spend your money on cars. That'll make you broke. It's the largest thing we buy that goes down in value. And they go down in value like a rock. That's where Chevy got that, like a rock. Ford's no better. It's found on the road depreciated. Shut up. They all go down in value. The average car loses 60 to 70% of its value in the first 4 years you own it. Absolute insanity. Well, I'm buying a Mercedes. They don't go down in value. Crap, they don't. A buddy of mine bought one of those SUVs. Mercedes, nice one. 550 GL, nice one. $90,000, $85,000 car. You know what it's, in 2008, you know what it's worth right now? 20. You just turned $80,000 into 20,000, and you scratch your head and you wonder why you're broke. Now, in his case, he's a multimillionaire and he can afford to do that. It doesn't even show up on his radar. But you know, most people do that crap all the time. These people buying $60,000 worth of car loans and make $55,000 a year. Sal's making $40,000. He buys a $35,000 Jeep. Now, yeah, he said it was stupid. He's right. It was stupid. So I'm not picking on Sal. I'm going to pick on the decision, though. Sal's already picked on the decision. He agrees with me. It's stupid. You go buy crap that's got engines in it, it goes down in value. You cannot afford to do that until you have some wealth. Now, I've got cars, and I've got some nice cars, and that's fine. I've got the money now. But when I was broke, you know what I drove? Yeah. Predominant color on the puppy was Bondo. It was a $400 car was my car after bankruptcy. But I never borrowed money again. I saved up money and got a $1,000 car, and it was a sizable increase in value. Listen, you know you're a redneck driving a hoopty if when you put tires on your car, you double the value of the car, okay? I've done that. And I lived like no one else, and now I can live like no one else. I drove like no one else. People have always made fun of whatever I drive. Now they're mad because I've got nice cars. They used to be mad because I drove hoopties. Can't believe you drive a piece of crap, Ramsey. Can't believe you spend all that money on cars. There's hungry children somewhere. There's always somebody got an opinion about other people's stuff. Have you noticed? Some of you people need to mind your own business and shut the flip up. There's an idea. So, I mean, really. But the deal is this. Think about cars. Now, I'm a boy. I love cars. Most of us boys love cars. I get that. A buddy of mine was just in here a few minutes ago got an AMG 550 with a Rentec on it. Sucker will go 0. That thing will take off and go to the moon. It's so fast. It's an unbelievable sweet car. I'm a boy. I love cars, but let me just tell you, I'm also a math guy and a financial guy, and I hate cars because they go down in value like a rock. Anybody that tells you that the car holds its value, laugh at them in their face. Ha ha! I laugh at you. You're a fool, because none of them hold their value. Boats don't hold their value. Airplanes don't hold their value. Motorcycles don't hold their value. Four-wheelers and snowmobiles and Sea-Doos don't hold their value. If you put a freaking engine in it, it drops like a rock in value. And we spend all our money on that, instead of putting money in things that go up in value, and then we scratch our head in the richest society the world has ever seen and wonder why we're broke and can't retire without the government taking care of us. Because you spent your freaking money on depreciating assets called a car. Stop it. $600 car payment. What the flip were you thinking? Oh, you weren't. See, this is how we're doing it in this culture. It's time to wake up. You're impressing people at a stoplight you will never meet. And if the girl's impressed with what you drive, you got the wrong girl, Bubba. Wow. Think, people. Think. Stuff is destroying your finances. This is the Dave Ramsey Show.
I have an article on my desk that is honestly pretty crazy. It was an email before it was sitting here on the desk, and I looked at the email earlier today, and it said, garbage deals. Dealership puts customers in cars with $3,000 a month car payments. That's wickety, wickety, wickety whack. Like, that's crazy. That's nuts. Okay, it says, a New York Fed survey published earlier this week indicated that in the fourth quarter of 2023, auto loan delinquencies reached levels not seen since right after the Great Recession more than a decade ago. So we're hitting historical numbers here. It says delinquency transaction rates have pushed past pre-pandemic levels.
All right, and we remember this, though. We remember during the pandemic, people were buying used cars.
Yes!
On like 72-month notes that were like, I have a buddy, and if you ask him, he's one of my oldest friends. Like, what do you do for a living? He says, I make bad car loans. And even he said, dude, these loans people are asking for are absolute madness.
I'm really shocked.
And they're coming home to roost now, but then it's getting worse. It's getting worse, man.
Wow. It says an Edmund report from last year showed the percentage of drivers with plus $1,000 monthly payments jumped to an all-time high. The reason is that the average amount financed for a new vehicle is around $40,000. Folks are putting $40,000 cars. That's the average.
Hold on, 17% of Americans.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Have $1,000 monthly car payment.
Yeah. Listen, John.
Golly!
Look, John, a while back, we
That's insane!
And that's for one car.
$1,000!
That's just one car. Most households are a 2-car household.
Okay, that is groceries.
It's a lot.
And eating out. Or a car that at the most, you drive for what, 2 hours? Maybe. And it sits in your driveway or your garage or your parking lot where you work.
The parking garage. Folks can't even see it because it's dark in there.
And they're $1,000. I should have read this more closely before I looked at this.
Yeah, it's nuts. So he says,
this episode is sponsored by Preparation H because I got the hemorrhoids, James. $1,000.
All right, it gets worse. It goes down. Listen, he says, this leads us to 2 posts that were made by a certain Instagram handle. It says they shared what appeared to be an auto dealer sharing several images online of new customers financing vehicles with payments that are as much as monthly mortgage payments. So in other words, these people are in this Instagram post and they're excited about the fact, like, you know, God came through and I got me my deal, you know, and
it's always that too. Like,
yes.
Man, God heard my prayer.
Yeah, it was a blessing.
And now I have a $2,550 monthly payment.
It says one person purchased a 2023, it's on the screen. One person purchased a 2023 Tahoe with a $2,550 a month payment on an 84-month term. That's almost a decade.
That's a depreciating asset. It will be... Oh my gosh.
Another person, that was just one guy, another person bought a 2023 Sierra. Oh my gosh.
2,500 Denali.
Oh, with a $3,000 a month payment. And he was locked in to a 96 month. Look, there's the prayer hands. Why do they gotta put listen. And look me in my eye. God didn't have nothing to do with that. You did that. That is not a blessing.
Gosh. Hey, can we just say Tahoe? I would love to have a Tahoe. A brand new Sierra Denali. I love that car. And I can't imagine signing up for a 96-month term.
And here's the thing, John.
On a depreciating asset.
I can't even get into the people that would sign for this. Like the guys in the photos or whoever. Their level of financial literacy is clearly very, very low. And they need shows like The Ramsey Show.
Yeah.
But whoever sold them this, I have questions about your integrity and who you are as a person. And you need King Coleman because you are not doing work that matters. You're doing work that causes pain. I mean, this is horrible. Just because you can get something doesn't mean you should get it. That's really the lesson here. Just because you can get it doesn't mean it's good. Doesn't mean it was a blessing. It makes me think of that verse, and all you're getting, get understanding and get wisdom. This is not wise. And just going out to get things because you can get it, because you can purchase. And on the other side, just making the sale because you can make it and because they're willing to sign. Each of those, there's responsibility on both sides of that scale. The consumer has a responsibility, and the person selling on the other end has a responsibility to society to do better.
To society. Okay? It's a greater good. $3,000 a month.
Let's do some math. So the guy who's doing $3,000 a month on a 96-year term, let's do a little bit of calculation here and see what that equivalates to over time. If he invested that money, I'm sick. It's $400,000. If he invested that money over the same term, instead of
paying $400,000,
$400,000.
So he's going to be sitting on a truck that's worth about 20 to 25% of what he bought it for in 96 months versus the other side of that.
Yeah. If for 8 years, and here's what I did for people checking my math. I did 0% start, like he has no money to start. I did that he's investing it for 8 years at an 8% return. 8%'s fine, whatever. It's not that great. Compounding monthly, so he's paying $3,000 in a month. And yeah, $400,000 in that range.
Wow.
That's what he's giving up to be able to post on Instagram and say, look at the car I got. I got my Sierra 2500 Denali. That's crazy.
Congratulations, man. You just tied a boat anchor around your leg and you just jumped off the bridge, man.
And it's just going down because we know new cars, they take that first hit, they lose 40 to 60% of their value in those first 3 to 4 years. Is critical. They lose it so quickly. And instead of that, he's got his car though.
I'm telling you, man, the $1,000 tripped me out. These make me sick to my stomach.
Here's what people said. Let's hear what other people said on Twitter. This is what people responded. They said $288,000 for a truck that will depreciate in 1/5 to 1/5 of that long before it's paid off. Yeah, absolutely. I don't know where he got the $2,088. I don't know where he got that dollar amount from. It's going to be more than that. This guy said, dude could be almost a third of the way through a 30-year mortgage on an expensive house when he pays off his truck. It is a mortgage. $400,000 is what he's sacrificing.
Yeah. And here's the part that's making me sick to my stomach is people watch TV and they watch TikTok and they watch Instagram and they have this vision and maybe they know one guy at their church or one guy at their office or two guys at their office. And they know that person's rich, whatever rich means, and that person who's rich has car X, Y, or Z. Mm-hmm. And what they don't know is behind closed doors, the average millionaire, the number one car driven by millionaires is a Toyota. It's a Toyota.
Wow.
And this is how wealth transfer doesn't happen or does happen, is somebody will end up taking this money and they're a millionaire and they're going to buy a used Tundra. They're going to buy a used Camry, a used Cadillac. and they're going to write a check for it, and then they're going to invest $3,000 a month and make $400,000. And on the other side, someone's going to say, I got that same car, yet they're going to bury themselves. They're going to bury their financial future and the financial future of those who love them and those who come after them with this type of nonsense.
And this is why we tell you guys, like and share the show. People, it's financial literacy at its finest. People need it. They don't know.
This is family tree stuff right
They don't know. This is ruining his family tree. He doesn't even know it. He thinks he's gotten a good deal. He's so excited. He's sharing it on social media, and we see that. People need to know this information. Like and share the show so that people can get what we're teaching, which is knowledge, and we all know that knowledge is power.
Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life.
In April 4th, my lease is up in my apartment with my girlfriend, but we've been having some relationship problems ever since we moved in together. Yeah, it's always fun times.
You know, that's what marriage is like in your first year. Nobody ever tells you that the first year of marriage is what you're experiencing. You just learn how to live together, and there's all kinds of problems.
Yeah, I hear that a lot from my dad. But I was curious about, I've been talking to my dad about moving back in with him. He would charge me $400 a month in rent. I do have medical bills coming up from a motorcycle accident that happened.
Oh, no.
And then...
You okay?
I turned out okay. Yeah,
right.
I turned out just fine.
So I got a question for you.
And then the part...
Quick question.
Yeah,
before we get to the money, because I think this plays into the money issue. You've been living with your girlfriend for how long?
A year.
A year.
Last year, April 4th.
A year. And you developed some real relationship. Okay, and you developed some real relationship issues now that you're living together. And so you think the solve is to stay living together but just go back to Dad's house?
We would go separate. She would go to her parents and I would go to my dad.
Oh, I missed that. Okay. That's actually okay. I'm feeling better with that. I didn't know because you guys got to figure out your relationship issue, and living together is probably not the best way to do it. In my opinion. I know I'm old school.
Does the issue have to do with money, or is it separate?
She gets very angry at me over little things. And don't get me wrong, I'm a human. I'm not perfect. I do some things wrong too myself. And her money issues she's not great with her finances. I've tried to coach her a little bit based off of your guys' teachings. She just can't really pull it together since the year we've been.
Okay. But is she getting angry at you over money things and your coaching, or is she getting angry at you about other things?
Just house things. Say if I come home from work and I just kind of want to relax and do nothing, she'll start getting angry. Or if I forget to do dishes, sometimes she'll get on me. Like I said, we take turns cleaning and whatnot. But
yeah.
Is she okay? I gotta ask. I'm so sorry. I can't help it. Is she angry, or is she just perturbed? In other words, I want you to rank it for me. Her reaction from a 1 to a 10. 1 being like maybe a little sigh where she's rolling her eyes, to angry, she's throwing something at you. Give me a ranking. What's happening?
I'll give it like a solid 5 to 7. It's no throwing. We don't ever lay hands on each other or anything like that.
Well, thankfully.
Yeah, that's why I put it at 10, throwing at you. Okay. Wow, Jade, what do you think of this? I feel like you need to get involved here.
Yeah, I wanted to know how long you were dating before you moved in together.
Oh, good question.
3 years.
3 years.
And was she angry at that time too?
No, it just really started since we moved in together.
So this is
last year, April.
This is playing into what we know, which is a lot of people. I'm stepping into the waters now, Ken. You know, a lot of people, when they move in together, the thought, Ken, is I'm just going to test it out.
Yeah,
right.
I
think I want to marry this person. I think I want to be with this person for the long haul. Let's test it out and see. But really, it causes people to go in the opposite direction. And there's been studies now that say that living together is you're least likely to have a successful marriage or even see.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's almost like a commitment thing. It's like you don't have to dial in full commitment.
Which makes those things even more irritating.
Yeah, it's almost like a symbol of lack of commitment.
I think you're right. Stacey stuck with me. You know?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
we
I
got
see that.
paper,
Yeah.
we got some ink, you got to pull all that apart. It's not easy.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly. Whereas it's like, hey, I don't want to marry you. I'll live with you. It's like the ultimate signal of lack of commitment. I don't want to marry you. So I wonder if underlying, she's feeling something. It's like, I'm with this guy and she might have marriage expectations, but you're not actually married. And so you guys are feeling that tension of the reality versus what you kind of think it is in your minds.
Although I will say this, Jeremiah.
You are probably 100% on spot.
She is.
Ever since, she's big on marriage. She's always kind of mentioned that to me, but I've always been a little skeptical just because, I don't know. It's tough out there.
Well, Jeremiah, this is where the rubber meets the road as it relates to my advice.
It's true.
You need to understand, young man, that if you put a ring on her finger and you marry her and you come home,
it ain't no going back.
And you just jump on the couch and you don't do what she's expecting you to do as it relates to your house stuff, she's going to still be angry. So we've got to figure out relationally, what is your part in this deal? And where do you need to step up? And then now listen to me, Jeremiah, if you step up, does she chill out? And so I'm gonna make a ruling here.
Yeah, make a ruling.
The starting question was, should we renew the lease? The answer is no. I think you need to go your separate ways for 6 months, and let's figure you two out. And you, young man, need to start with, do you want to marry this young lady?
And the answer doesn't have to be yes.
And if it's not, fine. But you owe that to her because she's made it clear she wants to get married. You're just kind of kicking the can down the road.
Yes.
I think I'd start there. Let's separate. Let's live apart. I'm not saying break up.
See, things get better. Yeah.
I'm not saying break up, but let's not live together. And let's see where we want to go. We're on Team Jeremiah because you called. But I'll be honest with you, if she called, I'd have been on her team.
And
so,
when you separate your living situation, like we said, you're still dating. Then take that time to start figuring out what it would look like if you're there. I don't know if you are, but if you are there, if we were to be married, what would it look like? What do we see for each other? What are gender roles? What do you think a man's role is? What do you think a woman's role is? Like, you guys talk about that stuff because you did get a little glimpse of, you thought you could come home and pop open a beer and watch the game, and she said, no, there's dishes in the kitchen. So you guys have to talk about that and arrive at what that means for both of you. And of course, if you do get married, go through marriage counseling and go through Financial Peace University.
Yeah, I agree.
Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life.
Hi, Ken, George. Thanks for having me.
You bet. Boy, you are a bundle of sunshine. How can we help?
Thank you. So my husband and I have a net worth close to $5 million.
That explains it.
All right.
And for the past 13 years, we've kept a spreadsheet charting every penny we've spent in various categories so we know how much we need to live on once we retire.
Wow. You're like George's favorite people.
This is I want to be Christine when I grow up.
We have $200,000 to $300,000 in our bank account at all times, and when it builds too high, we transfer the cash to Fidelity Mutual Funds. We know where we spend money, philanthropy, travel, and wine. And if anything happens, we know where to cut back. We actually eat out less than we used to before we reached 1 million net worth. We buy used cars. And my question is, do you recommend a monthly budget for your baby steps millionaire? I know that's looking out the front window, and we've been looking out the back window.
Interesting. I like this concept because I think you guys should be buying nicer cars, and I think you should be going to really nice dinners on a regular
It sounds like you've been too frugal, and there's a scarcity
travel.
mindset here. Do you feel like you're spending enough and giving enough and saving enough?
I just recently let us get business class tickets on the
Whoa,
plane.
Take it easy. Now slow down, see?
That was huge.
Pump the brakes here.
Wow, I feel like you're throwing money away now.
No, but we fly
We're
premium
joking.
economy back.
We're joking.
Okay, good,
We're
good.
actually joking,
We're
Christine.
kidding. We're saying you've earned it.
Yeah, I think business class is okay.
So you're asking, should I do a budget? Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe you can switch the spreadsheet lifestyle to the every dollar lifestyle, and I think you're going to find it far less meticulous and far more freeing.
Yeah.
I think
I
you
have
know
to
at
go
this point
through
what
every
you're going to
month.
spend. And guess what? If times get tough, we'll get back to our spreadsheet and make sure that we're, accounting for every penny here. But every dollar is going to help you do that just the same, just without the spreadsheet. And so I would I want to know what you're doing with the $300,000. Why do you need that at all times in a checking account?
Because I'm me.
Is it a fear thing of
you think?
If the stock market tanks and we need money or what? Because you guys aren't of retirement age yet, it sounds like.
Well, because my husband's a lawyer, so we pay quarterly taxes, and each quarterly this year has been $48,000. So I have to be ready to write a $48,000 check every quarter. So yeah, that's kind of the big thing. But he would have more like $100,000 in the account. It's me. I'm the one who wants.
How old are you two?
56.
Okay, 56. Now, once you're at retirement age, where you guys are maybe is work optional, then I would understand having, a year or two of expenses tucked away in a high yield savings account. But to have $300,000 right now, it feels like you can make better use of that money by either investing it, using it toward a goal that you guys have. I'm assuming you guys have no debt, no mortgages.
Where our house is worth 1.8.
Woo! And it's paid for.
Of course. That's the first thing we did.
You guys are incredible. So I would tone it down and go, okay, we know we need $50,000 once a quarter, but we don't need $300,000 all at once all year long. So let's tone it down to a 6-month emergency fund and one high yield savings. Let's have another high yield savings that's accounting for the estimated quarterly taxes. Maybe it's a sinking fund where you put in however much you need. If it's, every quarter you need $50,000, then we're talking about $15,000 a month going into that sinking fund into the high yield savings.
Yeah, because the draws are like $10,000 or even nothing one month, and then $78,000 the next month.
You've got big expenses, and that's where that sinking fund will come in handy. But it feels like you're leaning a little too far on the fear side right now of what if and what if. The truth is, you're going to have the money. We know the money's going to be there. You guys have the money in these accounts. Do you have money outside of retirement, other than the $300,000, like a non-retirement investment account?
Yeah, we have 1.8 in the 401k, 1.8 in the house, 820 invested in Fidelity Mutual.
That's just non-retirement, the 820.
Yeah.
Okay, so think about it. Worst case, you could liquidate some of that non-retirement money, and you'd probably have long-term capital gains of, likely 15%, or I don't know. What your income sounds incredibly high. What is your household income? $550.
$550 average.
Amazing. Yeah, you guys are crushing it, and we get callers that are living more lavish lifestyles with far less, with debt. And so you guys are doing great. I would encourage you to maybe increase the giving and spending arm, because your savings arm, you've got the muscle there.
You're right.
So the every dollar budget will help you, force you to do that. You can put a fun money line item for Christine, and it sounds like you guys like to travel, you like wine. Let's increase the experiences, upgrade the cars, do it all with cash. I don't think you guys are the type to go crazy.
Well, I mean, just listening to her, I can't even imagine times getting tough for them, because no matter what would happen to them, she would be so prepared.
There's a lot you can do here when you got a $1.8 million house, 1.8 in the 401k, 820 in the brokerage account. I'm breathing easy.
Oh, yeah, but you get the feeling she's not.
You have a feeling that at any time it could all come crashing down, and we've got to be ready. I can't live in that apocalyptic mindset too long.
Yeah, no.
I'd go nuts, but way to go, Christine.
And there's something to, when a person has been tracking spending on a spreadsheet for that long. I mean, there's a deep emotion driving that. And we didn't have time, nor was it really relevant, but to tie this into the rest of the audience going, I see myself in her. There is something in her past. There just is. The way that her parents treated money, talked about money, something happened
that created the scarcity.
Oh
mindset.
yeah. Because I scarcity is one thing. I mean, it's almost like she has a deep seated fear that things could go really bad really quickly, and I've got to be ready. I mean, when you're talking about somebody who says, at all times we have $300,000 in our checking account, I believe her. I think if she gets to 275, she goes, oh boy. And I think she feels a lump in her throat to get 25 grand more in there. I really believe that. And there's something there. And I think it's important for all of us to understand how we view money comes from something in our past. And if we're going to get out of debt and live like no one else, we also have to deal with some of those old patterns too. Because here she is, she's winning on paper.
Yeah.
But she doesn't feel like she's winning. I mean, she's winning.
Everyone listening is rolling their eyes going, oh my gosh, this is a real problem.
I get
But it's a real problem for Christine.
It is.
Because there's emotion behind that.
Right. She doesn't see the sheer numbers. I mean, most Americans, if we went on the street, did man on the street, and you went,
oh, that'd be fun.
How would you feel if you had $300,000 at all times in your checking account? People would just start laughing hysterically.
Yeah. I mean, that's lottery winner, I'm retiring today. That's the kind of stuff you'd hear.
Right.
And she's going, I don't know if it's enough.
Right.
A lot of scenarios I got to account for.
Yeah.
But Rachel talks about this in her book, Know Yourself, Know Your Money.
I'm glad
the
you
Money
brought that
Classrooms.
up.
So it's a great book for Christine. I'm going to send it to you, Christine. It might help you get to the root of this.
I love that.
Know Yourself, Know Your Money by our friend Rachel Cruz.
Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life. Joe's going to start off this hour. Joe's in Albany, New York. Joe, what are you thankful for?
Hey, Dave. I am thankful for God first and my 10-year-old daughter.
Awesome. What's her name?
My daughter's name is Aubrey.
Very cool. Very cool. How can we help you today, sir?
So I guess my question is kind of centered around God. So main question is, does God want me or us to be wealthy? I kind of wanted to ask you that because I feel like you have a pretty big business and you have ties to people who are in church. So maybe you could offer some biblical insight. That way my finances and my spiritual life can be aligned a little bit more.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there's two ends of the spectrum in the Christian world, both of which create an inaccurate teaching of Scripture. One end of the spectrum we call the prosperity gospel, that God wants you to be rich, and if you're not rich, you must not be right with God, and all this kind of stuff. And that's not biblical. You can't back that up scripturally. The other end of the spectrum is that God says you have to be poor in order to be holy, and that's actually not scriptural either. That's a form of heresy called Gnosticism. So what actually happens is it's not really a spectrum between those two, but it's maybe a third point on a triangle off in a different direction. I was on a TV show with a pastor one time, and he asked me what he thought was an underhand pitch question. Is it okay for Christians to be wealthy? Kind of what you said. And I said, no, we have to all be poor. And it kind of freaked him out because he thought I was going to say, yes, it's okay to be wealthy. But my point, and then I went on and expanded. So here's the true idea, okay? God doesn't care if you're wealthy or if you're poor. He doesn't care one way or the other. All he wants is your heart. All he wants is your worship. And if poverty gets in the way of your worship, that's a problem. If wealth gets in the way of your worship, that's a problem. And that's stated by Paul in the New Testament, as a matter of fact. I've been rich and I've been poor, and, Lord, keep me from having one or the other if it gets in the way. If you remember reading that scripture, Joe, you probably have heard that. And so the point is that those of us that are people of faith, that are people of the book, believe that we don't own anything. We are merely managing it for God. He's the owner. We're the steward, is the old English word that has been Christianized because it was in the King James Version of Scripture. So we're merely a manager. So we don't own anything. We're managing it. And managing wealth is a privilege. It is a responsibility, and it's to be managed for the good of God and for his kingdom. The first thing he says to do is to take care of your own household, feed that daughter, or you're worse than an unbeliever. It says a godly man leaves an inheritance to his children's children. And that's not necessarily just an inheritance of character. It's also an inheritance of money, because Solomon built the temple, but he built the temple of God in Jerusalem with his father David's money. David was prohibited from building the temple because of Bathsheba and his order of the murder of Uriah, but Solomon used David's inheritance to build the temple with. So a godly man leaves an inheritance to his children's children is fine. And of course, you don't want to leave an inheritance to your kids if they're misbehaving, because you're just going to fund their misbehavior. So, but that's what we're talking about here. So, we've taught our kids that we're managing this money for the good of our family to eat, the good of our family to enjoy some of it, to be generous with. God loves a cheerful giver, says in Scripture. So this continuous generosity. There's an indication all throughout New Testament and Old Testament to tithe the 10th of your income as your baseline for your generosity, offerings above that. So we've got these, we kind of got we got a job when you get money, and your job is to manage money, and then God gives you the directions on how to do that, how to manage his money. You take care of your own household, you're generous you leave an inheritance, you stay out of debt, you build wealth, but this idea that I'm getting rich for me to be a snotty rich person, no. But are all rich people going to hell? No, that's heresy. Because anything that teaches that the blood of Jesus is not powerful enough to cover any sin is heresy. And so we're suggesting that a prostitute that comes to Jesus, a murderer that comes to Jesus can go to heaven, but a wealthy person that comes to Jesus can't. And that's what the Gnostics taught, and that's what some of these people who teach theology on Twitter think.
And
so
I've been torn between.
Yeah, and it ends up, you get this mixed message like you are spiritually inferior if you become successful. And yet you're not, because the Bible says the diligent prosper. What is diligence? It's excellence in the ordinary. You're good at your job. Do your work as unto the Lord. Colossians 3:23 says. And how would you do your work? You would do it wide open. I'm working for Jesus. I'm going to go crazy, man. I'm going to leave it all on the field, And so, and if you're faithful with the little things, you're going to be given more to manage. If God was against wealth, why would he give you more to manage? And that's out of Jesus' own mouth. So there's all this biblical evidence that we're not supposed to worship wealth, and that wealth can be dangerous because it can become an idol. But if we can maintain the distance from it as a manager instead of an owner, if you don't say my, instead you go, I'm holding this with an open hand. What do you want me to do with it? It's yours. And then you're managing it. If you're faithful with the little things, you'll be given more to manage. And so then you don't have to live under this ridiculous communist left-wing guilt trip for successful people, and then they try to put a Bible spin on it, which is really hilarious.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, you're not better than someone else. I know some of the highest character, smartest people who are not wealthy, and that does, you're not better than them if you're managing more money than they're managing. You just have more responsibility. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. I didn't realize that there was two, crazy sides of each spectrum. And just knowing that God really doesn't care, it just matters where my heart is, that tells me a lot.
Yeah. I mean, he wants you. That's what he wants. He can give it.
Yeah.
I mean, I always tell people, it's like, people get so torqued out about this or that. Listen, I'm giving money to my church. Well, listen, if God wanted your money, he would just take it. And there'd be a greasy spot where you were sitting. I mean, it's like he's not worried about the money. This is God. So, so it's almost, you got to think sometimes he's sitting up there, Ken, with Gabriel just laughing at us.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And I feel like after that sermon, there's only one thing to do, and I should take an offering right now. That was really good. 3 points. We should have a little background music.
It was almost a Baptist thing.
I could do an altar call and a love offering at the same time. It's a rare talent, but some of us have it because of the amount of hours I've logged.
Since you're kind of growing your hair out, that would probably fit. You could probably.
Uh-oh. Are you worried that I'm heading over to the health and wealth crowd with the longer locks?
No. You keep slicking that on back there. I'm telling you.
Well, it's a new toupee. I'm trying to get it figured out. The glues, it's obnoxious. You got to really work it out. But I think it's a good word, Dave. And I love that he locked on to really, I think, the simple thing. If anybody's grasping this for the first time, I think what you said in one line really captures the whole thing. And that is, it's about your heart. So whether you have little money or you have a lot of money, it's about how you view the money. And that's just really good theology. And it cannot be, by the way, that's not debatable. It's about managing the money. There's too much scripture that just lays it out that we're stewards of everything he gives us. And so that's just a beautiful answer to that question. So no guilt, no overthinking, just Lock in on what Dave said there, because that's about as strong a teaching on that as you'll get.
The 1% are all going to hell. Let me scare you about that one.
Uh-oh.
If you make $38,000 a year, you're in the top 1% of income earners in the world. Whoops. You're not going to make it. If you believe that toxic, Gnostic heresy, this is The Ramsey Show. Create your free every dollar budget today, the simplest way to budget for your life.